Hey there everybody, Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter.
And this video is our reaction to Big Brother Canada Season 8, Episode 3. Also, we will share the latest from the live feeds at the end of this video. How it's going to work is we'll talk through what we saw on the episode, because I think we're still in the getting to know you phase of the game still with a lot of these people. And then we'll give some sort of warning before we get into it. Then we'll talk a little bit more about what is happening right now, the evening before potentially the veto ceremony, when we could have some serious action. That is your tease. Let's get into this episode, because we have so much to think about here. Much like Chris may need to think about retransforming his brain so that he actually recognizes his mother.
I think, I couldn't believe that he could not recognize his mother. It was probably just he's so into the house and everything that's happening. And I mean, this is not a normal thing that they're going to bring anybody into the house. A family, friends, nobody, especially this early on. So I'm not surprised that he was kind of like, oh, thanks for my food, Kim.
I think he probably thought it was going to be some sort of past house guest or something, because I've done that in the past. And no, here you go. Here's your mom instead. But anyway, before we dive in and talk all the way through this episode, if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. So I guess we should start with Chris. Where
the Chris of it all.
I find him on the feeds to be so absurd. He'll have these conversations. This isn't a spoiler, but he'll just talk about his job for 2 hours and all of these famous people and all of his clients, and that he's trained with these special people for years. It feels almost like he's got a story for everything for Survivor fans. He's almost like the brain version of Coach, where he just magically has done 5 million things in his life.
I think Sheldon said it best tonight when he said Chris is a really weird dude. I was like, yes, Sheldon, he is a really weird dude, and this is why I like you so much.
I think we could start making a list of Chris facts, and you can add some of them in the comments if you like, including that, did you know that Chris has actually found the way to extract someone's brain from their body into someone else's using only his mind powers? Or that Chris invented beards? There are a lot of things that I feel like Chris would probably try to take credit for.
Well, I'm sure he also thinks he invented flexing. What was going on with that? You could flex yourself out the door, Chris.
Yeah, what was that like? He was just doing that for 5 minutes? Who does that?
This show is giving Chris a really interesting edit with that.
Yeah.
Just how strange he is. And this episode, him being HOH, just gave us all the goods when it comes to just how weird he is.
He's very weird, but there's just so many weird sides to him, because he clearly thinks he is God's gift to humanity. He also seems to clearly think that every woman in the world exists so that he can tell them how they look, which is just kind of gross, Chris. What are you doing?
Chris is from Markham, and I'm from Markham, and I was like, oh man, it's so cool to have someone on the show from Markham. And now I'm like, oh, I'm regretting what I'm saying here, because some of the things and the way he's talking to women is driving me out of my mind. That comment that he said tonight to Brooke, who is such a beautiful girl, him saying you're flying under the radar but you're a good-looking girl, that's not a compliment. And I know that you're thinking that you're trying to give her a compliment, kind of like, you're not my type of normal good-looking girl, but yeah, you're all right. Just don't say anything, Chris. Just leave it alone.
You know what it felt like
you're
to me?
You're not Brooke's kind of guy either.
Have you seen the movie She's All That?
No.
Okay, because it feels a lot like this is sort of he's sort of saying, oh, before I give you the She's All That makeover, I feel like you're capable of this. It's like, Chris, just stop it with your nonsense and your because it was like this with Madeline too, where he's so much of his motivating factors oh, in the real world she would be all over me all the time, but Michael
so Michael ends up being the backdoor target because Chris thinks that Maddie and Rhiannon should be all over him.
This is a...
What? I do not know, and no.
Chris is really... Here's what Chris is really good at. Chris is really good at just stumbling into situations that are actually kind of beneficial to him. Because he doesn't seem to be, at least at the time that this is happening, acutely aware of the fact that the Maddie and Rhiannon and John Luke and... the Michael Alliance, the Evictors is a thing, but he just so happens to stumble into the fact that he is so insanely jealous that these women are not just like bowing to his pectoral muscles that he decides this is what he wants to do.
He is such a weird dude. I can't imagine, like, I'm not saying he's not a good looking dude, I'm just saying he is such a strange dude that I just don't know how, like, the girls are going to be all over that, because he's so all over the place with stuff that you can't really, it almost feels like you just can't get to know him, like push past through all this brain this and flexing this and like what else is going on in there, and you just can't get there.
Yeah, I don't know really what his deal is. I'm going to have a lot of questions, I think, for however long Chris is there. I mean, my other biggest question is why in the world Chris and Kyle needed like 3 enormous bags of Wendy's. I get the product placement. I don't think I could ever eat that much Wendy's in one sitting, and I actually legitimately like Wendy's. This is not sponsored. Like, I would give me the Wendy's, but it was just like, really, dudes? I mean, I guess Kyle's a power lifter. Maybe that's a part of it.
I want to talk about sponsorship for a second, because watching Chris put on those Skechers and everybody being like, yeah, and then in the background you see Minley's face and she's just like, I'm just like, I live for that. It was so good. I was like, yeah, you go.
Minley is incredible. Like, she is a... I mean, I don't know if Minley, if like we were in a room together, that we would actually get along. Like, she may hate me and everything I stand for,
She
but...
may hate me and everything I stand for, but I still stand. I like her so much. She is such good TV. And it's hard in this house because everybody does lie and, you know, sneak around, whatever. And she's just, this is who she is, and here you are, and you can take it or leave it. And so far, you know, we were in a good position. Chris did not put her up. He did not put my Sheldon up, so I'm all right.
Yeah, I mean, the Sheldon of it all, I mean, let's give a little bit of kudos here to Kyle and Sheldon for this. So we learn about the existence, and I don't even remember if this name has shown up on the feeds, the KBVS Alliance of Kyle, Brooke, Vanessa, and Sheldon, which, by the way, this is an atrocious alliance name. It sounds like a disease. Like, I don't think you should give yourself a disease name for an alliance.
The only thing I'll say about this alliance name that I think is actually really smart is that if you said this out loud, no one's going to know what you're actually talking about in the house. Where you've got, we're the evictors. If you say the word evictors, I feel like people are going to be able to figure that out. But if you say KBVS, people are like, I don't even know what you guys are saying, so I'm just going to go into another room.
Yeah, what is this, like, knocking by Victoria's Secret? Is it like an acronym? You can throw some, you got to be prepared in case someone hears you. I'm trying to help you guys out.
The only person that's maybe able to figure it out is Jamar, who, before the show, and I had just seen his interviews, I was like, I don't know about this guy. And I am completely wrong. He's entertainment gold, and there's something that he's doing that I think is extremely smart. I don't know how he's doing this, but it's incredible. He is in every single room at the right time when people are talking game, and nobody stops talking about it, which I think is incredible. He has so much information. Even when Chris was going in to make the nominations, he was right there, right at the doorway, sitting on the couch. So I think that that's pretty cool. It was a little bit like what you were saying about Andy a few seasons ago on Big Brother US. He kind of had something in every room so he could kind of be everywhere. For some reason, when Jamar's in a room, people are not stopping talking game.
The thing I can't figure out about Jamar, and don't get me wrong, I find Jamar immensely entertaining.
He is.
He's ridiculous on feeds, the way he interacts with the camera and gives you the you feel me every other word.
Okay,
and
I don't love that.
They, you know, I'm the most handsome guy in here. He does a lot of flexing for the camera too, by the way.
His whole monologue tonight about having to bro down with Chris was gold.
Yeah, he is, I don't know if he's actually good at Big Brother or if he is just, like, so caught up in himself that he's not really openly strategizing in a way that's harmful to his game.
Well, that's the thing, is he doesn't really feel like he's in, like, alliances or really talking a lot of game, and I wonder if that's working in his advantage so that it is, Jamar walks into a room, nobody stops talking game, he's collecting information here, collecting information there, like, there's something to that.
Let's put a pin on Jamar, because I have a couple of thoughts that I cannot share right now until we get to the live feeds. But, Jamar is an interesting dude, to put it lightly. But, I mean, I think the moment that big bro-y Chris won HOH, it was pretty clear that Brooke, who is pretty much the anti of big and bro-y, would be on the block. And then Hira, apparently, has not really had any relationship. I mean, I feel for Hira. I don't know if he has the social game to do well in Big Brother based on what I've seen.
So far, yeah, I'm sure he can see that everybody is chatting and talking, and this isn't a game that you can fly under the radar the first week. You have to at least make a couple of relationships, or this is going to happen where the HOH is going to say, I didn't get one word with you. You haven't spoken to me at all. Like, I don't know who you are. Of course you're going on the block.
I think in general, and I'll say this without giving anything away for the future of the week, that Chris, I think it's a questionable move that he makes in putting up two people who he doesn't really want to send out of the game, and then saving this other person as a possible backdoor, mostly because
he's jealous.
Because he's jealous, and then
weird.
he's making so many different people who are just mad at him.
Yeah.
And I mean, he doesn't necessarily know the full extent of how much people within the Evictor Alliance are going to be mad at him too, but it's a pretty big swing that he ends up taking here. I don't know if he needed to go this far with it, but it's Chris.
I actually think that taking the big swings now, while there's this many numbers in the house, is the right way to go. If you know that there's a 4 in the house, you need to start getting them out, and you need to get them out as fast as possible. And doing it in the first HOH when there are just still so many people in the house, you can pull the numbers on your side to say, hey, there's this 4 going on over here, but there's, 10 other people or 12 other people in this house that we can take care of this.
Yeah, if I was him, I would have, I don't know if he had the knowledge or the wherewithal at the time. I would have put up Michael and John Luke straight up on the block and just put it that way, because now you're probably going to have Brooke who's not thrilled with you. It already seems that way based on her diary room.
Let's be fair. She wasn't going to be thrilled.
No, it's true.
Anyways, these two were never going to get along. So
yeah.
I think she was probably a good put anyways, because they were never, no.
Yeah. Hira, meanwhile, I don't know. I think Hira could have been won over to Chris.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's burned Hira a little bit. But this is now time to sound the spoiler alarm here, because there's some live feed stuff to get into that we have to get into. And, all right. I'm assuming now, if you are still here, you are ready to be spoiled. Here we go.
Let's bring it.
All right. So, if you did not know, the veto was won by Hira. He is safe for the week. And with that in mind, the replacement nominee is going up. It is going to be pending a surprise, and there has been some almost surprises today already.
Yep, there has been.
Michael looks like he's going to be the replacement nominee target.
Shocker.
Yeah, no. I am really looking forward to the aftermath of this veto ceremony. I mean, Big Brother Canada, I know you guys like to take 2 million years on your live feed sometimes, but give us the goods early, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit worried with, Michael's social game has been fairly good. So this may just end up being a situation where Brooke just gets the short end of the stick. And I'm hoping not, because she does feel like she's a pretty social person. So
yeah, I think Brooke is pretty good. I don't think she's a 10 out of 10 Big Brother-wise yet, but she comes across as at least really, really solid.
Yeah, she does.
I really like Brooke and Sheldon. Like, they are a really cool duo.
And she is part of that alliance.
Yeah, she's got, I think, a lot of irons in the fire. I feel like Brooke will be okay opposite Michael, but the big question today was mostly whether or not we were even going to have a proper eviction this week.
Yep.
because the threat of self-eviction reared its head again.
Yep.
Because of Carol.
Because of Carol.
We talked about this in the updates last night. Carol was upset about hurting herself in a veto, which was kind of probably too extreme of a veto.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, it seems like a lot of people were not well after that. And then, she's facing something with teeth. I mean, if something happened to me in any of my teeth, I would have been gone.
I'm assuming they're bringing in someone to look at her
Of course.
because she has decided to stay. So the threat of Carol self-evicting seems to be done for now unless she changes her mind in about an hour. We shall see.
I guess it depends on who they bring in and if they're able to really actually help her. Depends what's wrong.
Yeah,
how bad it turns out to be. I mean, only the dentist will know.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic at this point. I was pretty pessimistic earlier because everybody was talking almost as though Carol already had one foot out the door. But it seems like she's going to be around and that's going to be fine. Let's talk now about people possibly imploding their games moving forward because there was this conversation earlier about, okay, let's change the vote and let's potentially get out Min Lee. This was brought up, I mean, in part by Vanessa and Suzanne were people who ended up having conversations with Chris about it.
Yep.
And Chris ends up telling Min Lee about some of it after the fact. He's already made it clear he's not getting rid of Min Lee this week.
And I think that that's a good move in a few ways because Min Lee is a person who's not going to necessarily keep everything to herself. Mm-hmm. It does take a bit of a target off of Chris if she decides to kind of go off on people or something like that, starts talking to people. It's not... I think that because Min Lee can be a bigger target, that could help Chris.
I think it's smart for him to keep Min Lee in the game. She's not somebody who's
Absolutely.
coming after him right now. There's no reason for this. Everyone in the house at this point pretty much knows that is a 4-person group in the Evictors,
yeah.
So there's no point in keeping 4 of them because guess what? Chris is already going to have 3 people who are mad at him even if Michael goes.
Yeah.
He seems to think that his magnetism is going to bring over Maddie, but that ain't happening, buddy. I'm sorry.
Man, I don't get it. We'll hopefully we're right, and if Michael goes, they will stay away.
It will be, I am looking forward to whatever the chaos is going to be, but really the fact that Min Lee knows that so many people have been sort of conspiring on her.
Yep.
There's going to be chaos regardless, depending on who the next HOH is. I have serious questions about what's going on with Vanessa's game because she is sort of talking about Min Lee. She's, even like conspiring somewhat against Kyle here and there, and Kyle has been one of her closest allies. I don't know what her plan is. I don't know. I mean, I picked her before the game to win, so it's not going great for me right now.
Yeah, she was in my tops for picking for the winner of the game as well, and she is really all over the board with this. She's sort of in this alliance, a little bit in this alliance. Yeah, she's working with Kyle. She's burning Kyle. I don't know what's going on.
I really don't know, but that's where I think we're going to be in for a good season.
It almost feels like Vanessa's just saying yes to whoever she's kind of talking to.
And I think she's also either taking too much information or misreading information, and she's getting overly paranoid. But, while there are a ton of alliances in the game, it doesn't feel to me like there's a domineering one or one that's going to be like the Pretty Boys. I think we're going to have a lot of moving back and forth between various things this season.
Yeah, I'm just worried that Vanessa's going to play herself out.
I'm worried about it, too. I'm really worried about it right now based on today. But, there's still a lot of time until the next eviction show, until the next HOH. So she's got a little while. The big mystery at the moment in the house is... what in the world is happening with Jamar and Sheldon? Because it seems like there's a lot of shade that's gone on. It seems like there might have been something that happened while the feeds were down. Feeds were down a good bit today.
Yep.
I don't know what that is. I don't know exactly what the cause of it is, but it's something to keep in mind because Jamar, in one of his monologues, talked about how he wanted to go to the end with Sheldon previously, which... was so funny because he was doing this while other people were walking in and out of the room, and so somebody would leave and he would talk smack about them.
He's really good at that on the feeds where someone will come in and then he'll be like, "No, they ain't winning, bro."
Yeah. He also gets right up, even further up, and it's like, okay, Jamar, you can take a step back. I don't need to see you this close. I know you think you're the best looking guy in the house, but still, man, come on.
He's the most entertaining guy in the house, I'll say that.
Jamar Min Lee, I kind of feel like they just need to be on a lot of reality shows together after this. I don't know if they're either going to end up getting married or having the messiest breakup in the history of Big Brother, but it's probably one of the two.
They're just the bored mans right now. I mean, she said it, she's bored, he's bored. It's the bored mans.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's going to be exciting for us.
Yes, that is the most important thing. We need drama and we need entertainment, but that'll conclude our discussion on Big Brother Canada 8, Episode 3. But for you guys, what are you feeling about this season right now? Do you want to see Michael get evicted? What do you think about the idea of Minley being a replacement nominee? Give us all your thoughts in the comments. And if you do like this discussion, give us a like, subscribe. And if you want to support us further, head over to the store. The link is in the description below. And we will see you here next time.